All right, welcome to Talk Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our weekly Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. I want to summarize what happened last week, talk about some of the big things that are going to happen this week, and as always, I have a bunch of charts to go through. If everybody could please smash the like button, I would appreciate it a lot. I'm looking for 250 likes on this video. It does help the video out a lot. It helps the channel out a lot, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Also, if you enjoy this content or if you're new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed, please consider smashing the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell so that you never miss a video. All right, let's get to Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. All right, I've got my sheet here of what has gone on lately and what is coming. So two big companies have done some big dilutions. Marathon, last week we talked quite a bit about their $417 million debt conversion. And Iris Energy last week announced a $500 million shelf offering. Each of the last two Friday live streams were dominated by those two topics, so there's more to discuss there. Number 3, energy credits. I want to talk more about energy credits. This is becoming a bigger and bigger piece of the overall Bitcoin mining picture. Those companies that have made agreements to get large energy credits have much more flexibility, and I think are going to be much more likely to succeed, particularly in the case if Bitcoin does take a little longer and goes a little slower getting where we want it to go. I also think there's a lot of confusion around energy credits, what they are, how they get paid out. So that's a big conversation still left on the table. HUT 8's vote passed last week, so they will be merging. They also put something out this morning saying they got approval from the courts in Canada. I think they need just one or two more things to happen. SEC final approval, but they're still, I think, on target for the end of September. So it looks like somewhere around the end of this month, this merger for HUT will go through. This is going to drastically change their business. So that's something we need to talk more about. That's a major event that happened in Bitcoin. Number 5, I put in blue. Over the weekend, I did put out my August monthly update comparing all the Bitcoin miners in a lot of different ways. So a lot of charts and graphs. I did change some of my methodology, update it, try and get things a little more accurate and a little more specific. Okay, number 6, some new news. Bitcoin this morning has hit a new September high. It broke over 27,000 for the first time in the month of September. I want to talk about whether or not yet this is a breakout, what's some potential upside, what things do we need to look at to see where we go next. So Bitcoin is on the move at the moment. We'll see if it lasts, but September is traditionally for Bitcoin the worst month of the year. But I did talk about on the early live streams in the first few days of September, I felt strongly Bitcoin was going to be green in the month of September. Now, it's too early to take a victory lap because September is nowhere near over. There's still 12 days left, so we will have to wait and see what happens. But so far, September has not been the disaster that everybody was anticipating. In fact, we're 18 days in and we're hitting a new September high. Okay, number 7, the biggest thing that will happen this week is on Wednesday, the Federal Reserve will announce whether or not they have a rate hike. As importantly, or potentially more importantly, is Jerome Powell's speech after the Fed announces whether or not they have a rate hike. So Jerome Powell gives an extensive speech. I'm going to give you a heads up. I am expecting no rate hike, and that is not, I'm not going out on a limb here. The CME futures have a 99% chance built in that there will not be a rate hike at this meeting on Wednesday. So I do think if there is a rate hike, it will be an absolute shock to the system, and I think you can expect to see some big downward pressure on the market. But again, I don't really think there's a realistic chance of that happening. We're 99% priced in that that will not happen at this meeting. We will talk more about that. I am expecting, the one thing I would caution everybody, again, this is not financial advice, so please do your own due diligence. Wait to see what happens. I do think there's a chance Jerome Powell will be more hawkish than he's been all year at this meeting, and that could scare the markets. That's something to look for, and that is this Wednesday. And then, as always, number 8 in purple here is question mark. New things pop up every week, so as new important things pop up, we will address them. That's what's going on last week and this week. So now let's get to the charts. Let's take a look at what happened to Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Okay, the first chart, as always, is week over week. So this is comparing Friday 9/15 to the previous week ended 9/8. So you're going to see there was some green this week. The two things I want to point out first is Bitcoin was up 2% on the week. So you'll always see Bitcoin on this chart. You'll see in gold that was up 2%. We are now also tracking the NASDAQ because Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners often trade in tandem with the NASDAQ. The Bitcoin miners sometimes trade more in tandem with the NASDAQ than they do with Bitcoin itself. So let's talk about the top of the board. Mawson, a 24% increase. So you're going to see later, Mawson has been drastically underperforming lately, so they're just doing a little bit of a catch-up. Overall, I still think this puts them in last place, but obviously in this week, they are in first place with a big move to the upside, 24%. BitDeer is a mystery. BitDeer's up 13% this week. BitDeer seems to trade on a daily basis many days, probably 75% of the time recently. It trades exactly the opposite of what the rest of the Bitcoin miners are trading. I don't know why that is. It trades on very low volume, but this is the third largest Bitcoin miner by market cap. So, these moves are big. This was a 13% move to the upside this week. BitDigital's up 7%. DigiHost was up 3%. Those were the only ones that outperformed Bitcoin. You're going to see the NASDAQ was up 0% this week, so that was flat on the week. There were two other Bitcoin miners that were flat on the week, which was CleanSpark and Stronghold. All the rest of the Bitcoin miners were red this week, so nothing was too drastically red. Nothing fell off a cliff, but it's worth noting at the bottom here, you're going to see Marathon is down 10%. It was down 9% last week. It's down 10% this week. This has everything to do with their $417 million conversion of debt to equity. So that was about a 15% dilution. So that has directly caused them to have a pullback in their stock price. So we are 2 weeks into that. I'm not sure if this is done yet or if it's going to continue to correct. To put things in perspective, Marathon and Riot are the two biggest Bitcoin miners by market cap, and they're very, very close in size. Riot at this point is a tiny bit bigger, but you're going to see Riot this week was down only 2%, whereas Marathon was down 10%. Okay, so you can see a lot of these companies were in red this week, even though Bitcoin was up 2%. So I would say overall in general, the Bitcoin miners did not behave very well this week. The last thing worth noting on here is HUT was down 6%. So HUT did get approval on their merger, and this is one of the two dates that I was worried there could be some big volatility with HUT. So 6% is a fairly small move. So I think actually the news that they merged, I think, was accepted positively by the market. A very small move to the downside, in line with all of the other Bitcoin miners. So it doesn't seem like that merger approval really affected them one way or the other so far. Now, they technically have not had the merger yet, so that is the next date that I'll be looking for, which we think is going to be sometime around the end of September. So that's something else to keep out a watchful eye for. Okay, the next chart is Bitcoin. We are now in week 9 of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners kind of going sideways and drifting down. So this has been a very long, brutal stretch. 9 weeks in cryptocurrency is a very long time. Cryptocurrency tends to move at hyperspeed, so this period of consolidation has exhausted a lot of investors. Now, we did this morning have a nice move to the upside. Also, last week, Bitcoin did bottom out at around 24,900, and it seems to be bouncing to the upside. We're several $1,000s above that right now. So possibly this is starting to be the end of this long drought here, but we will see. It's too soon to call. In the meantime, over this 9-week period, you're going to see, like I talked about earlier, even though Mawson was up the most by far this week, over the last 9 weeks, Mawson is in last place by a lot. They're down 69%, even with the 24% move up this week. DigiHost is down 54%. That's a dramatic move to the downside in this 9-week period, right? You're going to see Bitcoin up here in gold is down only 12%. In the same period, the NASDAQ here in purple is down only 3%. So you're going to see the Bitcoin miners have been a big leverage to the downside. There have been a larger leverage, really, than what I normally expect. In my mind, I consider these about a 3x leverage. So with Bitcoin down 12%, that would be 36%. But you're going to see almost every single Bitcoin miner is down more than that, some considerably more than that. So if we look at the two biggest Bitcoin miners by market cap, Riot is the largest by market cap, and they were down 44% in this 9-week period of time. Marathon's the second largest, and by the way, you're going to see they're at almost a virtual tie right now. They're down 46% over this 9-week period. BitDeer's down only 7%. It's actually outperforming Bitcoin in this period of time. So again, this is on extremely low volume. I'm not sure what's going on with BitDeer, so you guys, please be careful. Do your due diligence on BitDeer, but this has been the #1 performer over the last 9 weeks. Core Scientific down only 22%. That's been one of the best performers. And then CleanSpark down 36% and Iris down 37%. that really rounds out the ones those are the best performers over the last 9 weeks. Everything else is doing worse than a triple leverage to the downside from what Bitcoin has done. Conversely, I always like to show this chart just to remind everybody, although the last 9 weeks have been brutal, this year, you're going to see this is still a very, very green chart. There are now 4 Bitcoin miners in the red. All the rest are in the green. So Mawson is by far in last place, like we've talked about, down 54% year to date. Ennie's down 23% year to date. And then you're going to see Argo and Stronghold are very close to zero, down 2% and 4%. The NASDAQ is having a fantastic year so far, up 32%. So cryptocurrencies move in a different way. For a major index to be up 32% is a very, very good year. So you can see the NASDAQ here in purple up 32%. You're going to see Bitcoin, as always, in gold up 56% year to date. So even though we've had a 9-week period where Bitcoin has been moving slightly downward, it's still up 56% year to date. So all the rest of the Bitcoin miners are in the green. Some of the noteworthy ones, Core Scientific, which is in chapter 11, is still up over 900%. I will caution you, when they come out of chapter 11, there's no telling what this is going to do to the stock. So for those of you who have a giant gain, I would just consider, we don't know what the effect of coming out of chapter 11 is going to be for the equity holders. So please be careful, not financial advice. Cypher is up 438%. They're the 4th largest Bitcoin by market cap. So that's a huge move to the upside. They've been holding strong. Iris Energy up 274%. Those are the top 3, but you're going to see a lot of others still over 200%. The 2 largest Bitcoin miners by market cap, Riot and Marathon, they're up 223% and 219% respectively. So I'll let you look at the rest of this chart. If you are invested in one of these other Bitcoin miners, you can check out how they've done year to date. Lastly, just a quick look at market cap. So this is the top 12 Bitcoin miners by market cap. I do track 19 Bitcoin miners, but you're going to see, as I point out each week, the difference between number 12 and number 13 is drastic. BitDigital's market cap is almost 4 times the next closest, which is Argo Blockchain. All the rest that I follow are either less than that. So those are either microcap or nanocap stocks. So most of this top 10 stayed the same. One of the changes that happened is Iris Energy is now in 9th place from 11th place. They're about a $300 million market cap. One of the reasons that this moved up is they issued their financial statements, and we were able to see that they did do some stock dilution, so they had more shares of stock. Riot did jump back into first place from second place. Riot's been first place almost every single week all year. A couple of times, Marathon has jumped into first place and stolen that first place spot, but they have flip-flopped again, and you're going to see it's extremely close. Then in third place, a little drop-off is BitDeer at just under $1.5 billion, and then a gigantic drop-off from that, basically a 50% drop-off from third place to fourth place. Cypher is the 4th largest by market cap at $731 million. Cleanspark rounds out the top 5 at $675 million, and then you're going to see another pretty dramatic drop-off from there down to $465 million. So that basically sums it up. That's kind of what went on last week. Those were the highlights from last week, the major events, and we took a quick look at what's upcoming this week. Thank you very much. If you enjoy this content, please remember to subscribe, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next video.